Phew. Well, you find me doing a quick spring clean, much needed spring clean in my garage, because at the moment it's the first week of March, a good time for a quick tidy up. It's also a good time to review the progress on my various projects since the start of this year. So January was quite a busy month for me, and we started off in the first week when I pushed my Kawasaki Z1000 Mark II project all the way from here, nearly 2 miles uphill and down dale to my friend Les's garage. Now, to be fair, it didn't have an engine in it, but it still was quite a difficult a push for me. But I got it there, and we soon fitted the lower half of the engine back in the frame. The barrel and the head are not yet gone on the engine, and in fact that makes life a lot easier because the engine's a lot lighter, a lot easier to manipulate back in the frame. So once we did that, we had a few problems because I'm using a combination of one-off new 10mm thick billet engine brackets and a couple of old engine brackets from another bike. It turns out that other bike was slightly modified, so the brackets wouldn't fit on my Mark II. So since then we've had a few problems and issues with those brackets and bolts and so on, but they're now all resolved. The engine's securely held in the frame, and every nut and bolt that does that job is now titanium. Now, I did film, or tried to film, that whole process, but during the work we were doing, all you could see really was 3 or 4 people working on an engine and trying to get it in and talking to each other, and all you saw was the back of our heads, so it wasn't much point. So since then, not much has happened because Les is recuperating from his illness he had last year, and he can't really do much yet, and that's fine. You know, the bike can stay there as long as needed. We have, however, been talking about various aspects of the bike. So one problem I've had is the sprockets for the bike, the rear sprocket and front sprocket. You see, the bike has wheels from a Yamaha FZ1/R6, and the standard sprocket size, rear sprocket size for that wheel is 45 teeth. But the sprocket size of a Kawasaki Z1000 Mark II is 33 teeth, so that's a massive difference. I managed to find the smallest rear sprocket I can find, which is 38 teeth, but that still means it's going to be under geared in use. But we can get around that by fitting a bigger front sprocket, and that brings the ratios back to where they should be, or thereabouts. Another option for that problem would be to buy a blank rear sprocket from Renthal with no holes drilled in it, and then drill your own holes, your own mounting holes, and fit it to the bike. But that means it works, but those sprockets don't look very nice. And in fact, I've got a couple here hanging up at the back on the back wall there that I used on my drag bike when I wanted to get different gearing, and it works, but as I say, they're not very good looking. So I've now got a very expensive Super sprocket for the bike, and we're going to fit it when time allows. So the Mark II is over at Les's garage for as long as needed. So in January then, I had a few weeks, about 3 or 4 weeks, when I had a bit of space in here for a change and had a bit of time. So what should we do? Well, I turned my attention to this, my long-term Guzzi project, which I've been working on now for 10 years or more. I've not touched it for about a year. And the reason for that was because I'd hit a few difficult, niggly problems that were not easy to sort of resolve. But I thought, you know, come on, I've got to get it moving. I've got to get the damn thing finished this year. So I knuckled down and got stuck in. And those problems are really in 3 areas. The first one was that I wanted to fit a Le Mans Mark I fairing. And in fact, now it is fitted. But that was not easy because it turns out the yokes and the forks are wider on my bike than they are on a Le Mans Mark I by about 17mm. And that's a problem because the brackets to mount the fairing fit into the bolts which hold the headlamp in place. Turns out those mounts are 17mm further apart than on a Le Mans Mark I, so they don't fit. And the brackets can't easily be modified because they've got to work with the curve of the fairing and so on. Oh, it's a nightmare. But with the help of Jeff the welder, who's very, very skilled at what he does, we managed to make a new pair that work. So now the Le Mans Mark I fairing and its screen are back on the bike at last, and that was not an easy job, I can tell you. So with that done, the second problem I had was with the instrumentation on the bike. I originally had a small electronic speedo, 60mm speedo, a separate gauge for the idiot lights. using old-fashioned bulbs, and of course an ignition barrel which I got from a Harley. I like those. Now at the time, what, 7, 8, 9 years ago, there wasn't such a massive choice of gauges as there are now, and the gauges that you did have were quite expensive. But I really wanted to have a bigger gauge. I wanted to get rid of that separate gauge for the idiot lights, and I decided in the end to buy what's on the bike now, which is a much larger 80mm Cosso combined speedo tacho unit with all the idiot lights built in. Brilliant. A damn sight lot cheaper than they would have been 7, 8 years ago. To fit it, of course, I've got to change an awful lot of wiring, and I've also got to make a new bracket to hold it in place, which, as you can see, is now on the bike. And I did make a video about the work I'm doing on the Guzzi, but it wasn't particularly interesting, and you've seen it all before. I've made brackets before, I've made brackets to hold speedos before and so on, and done wiring videos, so I decided not to post it on YouTube. So with that done then, you might notice that the ignition barrel is missing. It doesn't have one anymore, at least not on the handlebars, but I'll come back to that in a minute. So my third and the most serious problem I had with the bike concerned the battery and the charging system, because I designed the bike to take this thing. This is, at the time, about 7 years ago, the latest thing, a lithium-ion battery. Very small, very light, very powerful. Unfortunately, it turns out that these batteries don't like working with 70s era charging systems from a Guzzi. And it turns out my Guzzi in particular has a charging system made by a company called Surpresa, which even in Guzzi circles is renowned for being unreliable. I think the problem is that the charging system, alternator and rectifier, they produce quite a variety of voltage as the revs rise and fall on the bike, and these batteries can't really deal with it, so this died in no time. So in the end I decided, well, forget that idea, let's just fit a standard lead acid battery for the bike. So I bought one, and here it is. It's massive, it's incredibly heavy, it's about 9 kilos, and it's a 30 amp hour battery. In fact, that'll probably work on my car actually. So I bought it, came to fit it, wouldn't fit. So I thought, oh, it doesn't fit because I've got this thing fitted to the bike. This is a aluminium 10mm thick tray to replace the pressed steel battery tray that sits on top of the gearbox where the battery lives. So I sort of removed this. Still wouldn't fit, getting close, but it wouldn't fit. So then I thought, oh, the electrics tray, which sits between the frame rails here, that sits about an inch below the level of the frame rails. So I thought, oh, that's getting in the way now. So I removed it, which meant removing the motor gadget M unit, all electrics, took it all out. Still wouldn't fit. Battery still doesn't fit. It's like, oh no. I even resorted to filing the corners of this battery to try and get it to fit, because it was getting quite close, and I can't understand why it doesn't fit, because this is made for my bike, but it doesn't fit. Turns out the reason why it doesn't fit is because I was trying to fit it sideways into the frame here, for the triangle of the frame. It's not designed to do that. It's designed to drop between the frame rails from above. It's like, oh no, oh no. Turns out I can't do that because A, I've got my battery tray, my electrics tray in the way, and 2, I've got some additional welded struts across the frame rails which get in the way. What a nightmare, what a nightmare. And so the answer to that problem is that it turns out the later models of my bike, which have an 1100cc engine, rather than my bike's 1000cc, they don't use a 30 amp hour battery, they only use a 19 amp hour battery. So I can buy a 19 amp hour battery, an AGM battery, which can be fitted on its side, and they're about half the size of this thing. So that's what I'll do. I'll buy myself an AGM battery at some point, and that should solve the problem. In the meantime, I've still got to do a lot of work on the bike. One thing I have done though is I have completely removed all the wiring on the bike again, and I've also removed the Motor Gadget M unit, which I first fitted, God, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, whatever. And that M unit was the first one I'd ever seen, first one I ever used. And since then I've learned a lot more about them. But the reason why I've removed it is because I think it's too sophisticated for the bike. It's got things on it that I don't need. So I've taken it off, and I'll use that M unit on a different project in the future. And I've replaced it with a so-called D-box from Axle Use, which I've only used on my green 650 here. And it's a lot smaller, a lot simpler, but it does the job. And it's also much more waterproof, which I thought was a great bonus, because where it sits, it's difficult to keep all the water out if I ever got caught out in a rainstorm. So I'm now in the process of rewiring the whole bike, and indeed one job I've done now is I've moved the ignition barrel from the handlebar area to fit inside the electrics tray. That means that the key itself goes up underneath here. Not the most convenient place to put a key, but it's secure, it's simple, and hopefully it'll stop any light-fingered thieves. And also it means that the wiring for the ignition is hidden away underneath the seat and more difficult to get out. Well, that was the idea anyway. Right, so I've still got to do a lot of work on that, and I've made actually 3 videos about the work I've been doing on this since the beginning of January, but well, it's all a bit boring really. You've seen me make brackets before and do wiring before, so yeah, it's all just repeating myself, so I didn't bother posting that on YouTube. And in fact, this video will be a replacement for those videos because I ain't going to publish them. Right, so that's the state of play with the Moto Guzzi project. So moving on then, what about the green Z650 here in the corner? And so when it comes to this bike, the last video I made was about changing the rear shocks for shocks that were a bit shorter, because originally I had these shocks here which are hanging up behind me on the bike, and they're from a ZRX 1200. Turns out they are 365 millimeters long. Standard is 325, so 40 mil longer. And when you fit in on the bike, so you sit on the bike, I'm on tiptoes. It was a bit ridiculous really, so I took them off. We've got a decrease in performance but an increase in practicality, because these are the correct size, correct length, and yeah, the bike now sits as it should, so I'm pretty happy with that. So now I finished all the work I can pretty much do on this bike. It's all fully wired up as far as I can do. I've got the D-box fitted, the axle juiced D-box, and yeah, it's now waiting for its engine. Now when it comes to the engine, we had a slight delay because of problems getting the cases coated, but that's now all resolved. And I collected the cases, I think, when was it now, 3 or 4 days ago. So I've got the crankcases, the sump, I've got the barrel and the cam cover and a few other small things. And they've been coated in a silver ceramic finish, the same as my Z1000A1 engine. So it's gone from being black to being silver. And the only part I've not done yet is the cylinder head, because the original cylinder head was badly worn. I couldn't really use it, so I ordered a second-hand one which is much better, but that needs to be stripped down and checked and possibly skimmed. We've got to take it to a machine shop, skim it, maybe clean up the valve seats before it goes off to be coated. That's why that's not been done yet. But to be fair, I mean, that's the last thing you fit on the engine really, so a lot of work can be done before that part is required. So those engine cases are now again at Les's workshop. I took them down there the other day, and it's just in storage until he can be able to rebuild the engine. Right, so that's what's happening with the F2. So the plan is for me is I'm going to collect the Mark II, the Kawasaki Mark II, with its engine fitted at some point in the future. On the same day, this bike is going to go the other way. I'll take it to Les's garage so he can work on the engine on this thing. So I've still got the space to put the Mark II in here, because right now, in fact, always, I can only refit 4 bikes in my garage. 5 just wouldn't fit. So yeah, if the Mark II came back now, I'd be stuffed because I've got nowhere to put it. But the idea is the Mark II comes back and this leaves me, and it won't be coming back when the engine's fitted and we've got it all completed. There's a new owner who wants this bike, so he can have it, and that's me done. Right, so that's the Guzzi, the F2, the Mark II, and what about the other 2 bikes I've got in here? And so my next project bike is this, my Kawasaki Z650/1170 project, which I think was my COVID project because I worked on it over COVID. So it's almost finished now. It's pretty much is finished, except for one problem, which concerns the this outrigger system I've got made for the bike, that I just can't make it keep oil in the engine. It leaks. I've tried fitting different gasket material, different thicknesses, still leaks. So I'm at a bit of a dead end for that. And the problem is that to work on it, I've got to kneel down and just work on this little bit here. And fitting the system takes quite a long time. And there's also a risk that I'm going to strip out one of these little small threads, and it just, things could go wrong very easily when you're working on this area here. I've also found it quite uncomfortable to do because I've got to kneel down, and it's I'm not getting younger, so I find that quite uncomfortable. So I've just left it for the time being. and I will return to this project when I've finished the Mark II and the F2's gone, and my latest project is also complete because that's on a bit of a deadline. This will have to wait until those projects are finished, but I'm very happy with it. It's one of my favourite projects I've ever done. Very happy with the way it looks. The paint job's fantastic, some nice details on it, but as I say, it's got that one niggly problem that's just stumped me, and I may actually need some help with that. I don't know. It'd be helpful if I could have a second pair of hands at times, or a second pair of eyes, but it'll just have to wait its turn until I can work on this bike again. So let's move on then to my latest project, which is currently sitting outside on the drive. And here is that latest project, of course, my new Kawasaki Z650B, which I bought as a birthday present at the end of January. So now we're at the first week of March, so this is week 5 of the build, and so far it's gone okay. It's been a very busy month. I've stripped down the bike, got the frame powder coated from Triple S, painted some stuff myself, lots of cleaning and polishing to do, got the engine back in, all new fasteners and so on, some clean parts. The engine bolts are now stainless steel, as is the spacer for the rear of the engine here. Yes, it's been really busy. I've got the front end on, that was the work done this week, and I've got the parts now done to fit a 4-pot Brembo caliper to the standard front wheel. I'm now waiting for a pair of rims to turn up from Italy. They should have been here this week, but there's some problem with postage, so I'm not sure when they're going to arrive, but when they do, then I'll finish cleaning up the hubs and rebuild the wheels myself and get them on the bike. So yeah, still a lot to do. And the reason why I'm doing all this work so quickly is because I want to get the bike back on its wheels as soon as possible, so I can manoeuvre it around when my Mark II comes back. That's quite important. So yeah, it's been all hands to the pumps for this particular project. As you might know, my projects often take years, but this one is going to take weeks rather than years. Fingers crossed anyway. So that's the state of play with the Z650B. I've now made 4 videos about this bike, well 5 actually, but we're on part 4 of the build, and part 5 I will post next week, when hopefully the rims have arrived and I've built up the wheels and the bike will be on its wheels for the first time. So yeah, that'll be for next week. So yeah, that's all 5 of my current projects, but that's not all I should be covering in the next few months. And that's because there's at least 1 and maybe 2 project builds I'm going to be filming later on this year, and thankfully they're not mine, they're somebody else's, but I've got the okay to film them, so that's fine. And I think the first of those builds starts in earnest sometime in April, so I shall be there hopefully during the next few months filming away, and we'll post it on YouTube. I'm actually quite interested in that particular build. It's quite an interesting build, and yeah, I for one will be keen to see how it turns out. But for once it's not mine, so I can sort of stand back and just film and not worry about all the details. So yeah, as you can see, things are pretty busy in here. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 bikes in here that I'm working on, and another one that's not here at the moment, as well as I say, somebody else's build that I'm going to cover later on this year. So that's a quick update. I hope you find it interesting, and I shall post part 5 of the Z650B build next week. So for now then, thanks for watching and cheers.